Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
I don't think football is like that impactful in my life, but obviously like considering the school that we come from, like it definitely plays a role into like school spirit and our community around us. I'm a really big Lions fan, so like every weekend I'm like, okay, like what time are we playing? Like organize my weekends around the game, but I don't think like it controls my emotions necessarily, just like my time.
Yeah, I would agree with that point. I spend a lot of time passively engaging with football. I have a roommate that's really into the Bills. And so I think it's definitely a point of connection in my life.
My little brother plays football. Part of like football for me is about like supporting my family.
Football has never really been like a super big thing for me. I do have a few family members who have been in the NFL, but still.
City that they're from or like a city that they grew up in.
A lot of like a familial connection with it.
I feel like recently with social media and stuff, there's been a lot more like bandwagon kind of sports fans.
And then also kind of on that, it's like people are like more interested in the individual players because of social media. They can see like their personalities and like things they do opposed to just like their stats.
The impact social media has. Social media turns against someone and makes you see like their bad side. That kind of makes you like want to follow along and like not support someone.
Social media definitely makes mistakes more visible. I'm a very political person. So, like, when you have access to all this information about what these companies, organizations, individuals believe, and their belief systems don't necessarily match yours, I think it's a lot easier to distance yourself from them.
You can only kind of look at how they're going to handle it. Something that would kind of like bring me back in is genuine acknowledging said mistake.
Something more meaningful than just like putting out a statement. I think there's also more meaningful ways of recourse, like giving to certain charities or taking measurable actions to rectify the harm caused. There's kind of this sense of like performance, like everyone just wants to not offend anyone, but they don't really care about actually apologizing or making people like truly feel better.
Is that they're interacting with the communities or with the people that they hurt.
I'm a super big hockey fan. Hockey definitely has a major culture of misogyny that kind of assumes that women are into sports because they think the players are attractive than the actual content of the game.
I feel like I know a lot more than everyone else. People are like, oh, I love that you know so much about football. But like they're saying these statements to me because obviously there's a lot of women that like don't know about it or like feel like they can't be included in that space. Every time I find a girl that talks about sports, I'm like, oh my God, like this is so exciting. Like even though like their opinions might be the same as like the men I follow, it's like just nice to have that female perspective.
Formula One. I feel like interacting with the community would be like, oh, the women are only into it because they think the drivers are hot, like the dumbed down, watered down version of the sport. And I feel like when I express interest in Formula One, I get a lot of feedback, like name every single driver that's ever driven the car, name every engine supplier. They question your intelligence, like your knowledge about what you know about the sport.
I think that that's definitely a big thing to like show front-facing women like working in sports and having involvement with that. They're like really dramatic rebrand from being the Redskins and like transitioning to the Commanders.
Sometimes like my dad will say the Redskins and then he's like, oh no, the Commanders, like whatever. Because it's in like the DC area, sometimes I feel like another thing I associate with their fan base is just kind of a lack of direction. And it also doesn't help that they just had this major rebrand and the logo is just a W. We're far enough away from it that I think people aren't maybe as up in arms about the name change. And I feel like everyone's just kind of okay with the Commanders, but it's still like a little directionless. I just hear a lot of like conflicting statements when it comes to the rebrand. If the Commanders could make that more available, like I don't know if they have like a history on their website or information behind why they made that name change, because I still hear a lot of just like confusion.
Maybe the confusion that Ava has sensed, and I've definitely picked up on it too, could be rooted in no strong unified message coming from the organization. Maybe an issue that they have could be not constructing that personhood or like developing a brand personality. I think when you're talking about sports, the entertainment factor is so high that you're really trying to develop a relationship between the team and the fans.
I feel like their like personality would be like kind of like a marketing strategy for them. It can either like bring in more viewers that like are entertained by like their strategies to like promote themselves, or it can also like push them away.
I like have no moral issue with it, but just kind of a team affiliation issue. Personally wouldn't do it just because I'm not a fan of the team.
I don't even think I would for it. Like people would care. Part of like fun of wearing like Michigan merch and you go out into the world and people say go blue. You're not gonna hear that as much from wearing Commanders merch.
Just not a Washington fan.
All right, well, thank you. That's all the questions that we had for you guys.